like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistol.
Boruto chapter 51 is about a week away, and there's a whole bunch of things that we do have to talk about, mainly because that chapter is supposed to be a literal series-altering chapter. The first thing that we do have to understand is the situation that they're in. Isshiki, as of right now, is clearly at an advantage. He's clearly stronger than Naruto and Sasuke, and Boruto doesn't really help Naruto and Sasuke that much either. So regardless, at this particular point, we understand it's not going to be good. Now, after the last chapter dropped, one of the more popular topics is the fact that Boruto is actually going to have to tap into his Karma Seal for Naruto and Sasuke to even have a chance of beating Isshiki Otsutsuki at this particular point. What we understand is that Isshiki Otsutsuki isn't necessarily going to put himself in any compromising situation to where Momoshiki then has to actually take over Boruto's body. One of the popular themes about the last chapter is the fact that Isshiki Otsutsuki understands that he cannot kill Boruto, and from what we've seen in the past, Momoshiki will pretty much only come out when Boruto's life is at risk. Now, of course, because Isshiki Otsutsuki is not necessarily going to put Boruto's life at risk, that situation is not going to happen. But here's the thing, Boruto can actually tap into the Karma Seal without the assistance of Momoshiki. But how effective is the Karma Seal going to be without Momoshiki's assistance? That question right there, quite literally, as of right now, does not have an answer. And it's mainly because the Boruto writers have been extremely inconsistent with Boruto's growth using the Karma Seal. And we have to give them a pass, mainly because we are working with like a monthly type of information system. The Boruto manga in itself does not necessarily give us a lot of detail. So of course, we're probably going to have to rely on the anime about a lot of the progression of Boruto's Karma Seal. For example, a couple of months ago, Boruto couldn't even really activate his Karma Seal by himself, and all of a sudden, without us knowing, Boruto learned how to do that. And then a couple of chapters ago, Boruto along with Kawaki opened a portal, and we had no idea that Boruto could do that. Boruto didn't even train to do that. So after that, we thought that the only way that Boruto would be able to open up a portal was with Kawaki. And then literally 2 chapters ago, Boruto opens up a portal by himself out of thin air. So when we talk about Boruto's progression in the Karma Seal, it is happening extremely rapid. And just to remind you guys, this is the progression of Boruto's Karma Seal without the assistance of Momoshiki Otsutsuki. So in the next chapter of Boruto, he could potentially have a lot of the abilities that we did see when Momoshiki actually did take over Boruto's body. For example, I would not be surprised at all if in the next chapter, Boruto learns how to fly or something. If Boruto now knows how to perfectly absorb chakra, if Boruto now hits harder than Sakura or something like that, those things would not necessarily get me super surprised. The only thing that would definitely surprise me is if Boruto's actual technique would be on a god tier level. For example, Boruto 1000% hypothetically cannot keep up with a character like Sasuke in a taijutsu battle. Even though we understand that the Karma Seal gives Boruto the ability to do so, it's just the fact that Boruto as of right now isn't necessarily technically that sound to be able to actually go hand to hand with a character like Sasuke, like Naruto, and let alone a character like Isshiki Otsutsuki. But regardless, because the Karma Seal does give Boruto that sizable upgrade, you could possibly assume that Boruto teamed up with Naruto and Sasuke would then be able to give Isshiki Otsutsuki a run for his money. One of the things that I didn't necessarily see a lot of people talk about when the chapter actually drops is the fact that Isshiki might actually try to force that ability out of Boruto. We understand that Isshiki as of right now, he basically views Naruto and Sasuke as nobodies. He even said in the last chapter, he said maybe if I just killed Naruto and Sasuke, maybe everybody else would then tell me where Kawaki is. Like, he's speaking of Naruto and Sasuke like they're completely nothing. So because of that, I feel like Isshiki Otsutsuki might actually be compelled to actually see what Boruto could potentially do with his Karma Seal abilities, all within the measures of Isshiki Otsutsuki actually not trying to kill Boruto. In the last chapter, we've seen it in multiple panels where Isshiki Otsutsuki just seemed like he was interested in Boruto. He doesn't necessarily want to take Boruto's body or anything like that. He even referred to him as Momoshiki's vessel, so he pretty much respects Momoshiki as having his own vessel. It just seems like Isshiki Otsutsuki is just that interested in Boruto and potentially what he could possibly do. In fact, in the last chapter, and I quote, Isshiki Otsutsuki said, "How much power hides within you? Show me." So do not be surprised at all if Isshiki Otsutsuki then tries to force out some of the abilities just to amuse Isshiki Otsutsuki. And at that particular point, if that does actually happen, then we could potentially see the real battle start with Boruto teaming up with Naruto and Sasuke to potentially defeat Isshiki Otsutsuki. Another thing that we should be on the lookout for is, of course, Boruto getting the mark on his eye. One of the famous things that Boruto or Teen Boruto is known for is the famous mark on his eye, the same eye that basically has the jougan or Boruto's dojutsu. The mark on Boruto's eye looks like it coincides with the mark on Boruto's headband. Well, technically it's Sasuke's headband. I think whenever Boruto has Sasuke's headband on, especially in the times where he actually does go out on missions, and of course in a time like this when he's fighting against Isshiki Otsutsuki, it does put everybody on notice that this right here could possibly be the battle where Boruto does actually get that slash on his own eye. Now, another thing that heightens that possibility is the fact that Isshiki Otsutsuki as of right now has Sasuke's sword. In the last chapter when Sasuke blitzed Isshiki Otsutsuki with his sword, Isshiki Otsutsuki pretty much stole his sword and pretty much almost killed Sasuke with his own sword. So regardless, as of right now, Isshiki Otsutsuki has that sword, and that could actually be the sword that slices Boruto's eye, as well as Sasuke's headband. And of course, it is a popular idea, the fact that the person who actually attacked Boruto's eye wanted to actually destroy Boruto's dojutsu. As of right now, as we spoke about, Isshiki Otsutsuki definitely wants to see the ability of Boruto's karma seal, but what we did see when Isshiki actually did take over Boruto's body, Boruto's dojutsu also popped up. Even though in the manga it definitely looked like a Byakugan and Sada calls it a Byakugan, it is a very high probability that it is in fact a jougan, and Otsutsuki members themselves know what a jougan is. Some people might not remember this, but Isshiki pointed to it right before he gave Boruto the karma seal. Also, when Boruto was fighting against Isshiki named the jougan by name, and in this particular situation, if Isshiki Otsutsuki understands that Boruto is going to be extremely strong because of the karma seal, and as Isshiki Otsutsuki said himself, it was 80% complete, he might understand that the karma seal plus a dojutsu like the jougan could potentially cause a lot of trouble, and of course in that particular situation, then Isshiki Otsutsuki would try to destroy the jougan. As I said before, Isshiki Otsutsuki in the next chapter is 100% not going to try to kill Boruto. That might be for multiple reasons. It might be because he understands that Isshiki is going to be a lot stronger in the body of Boruto, and it also might be the fact that Boruto at this particular point is also an Otsutsuki member, and of course the lay of the land, or the law of the clan, is the fact that Otsutsuki members can't necessarily kill other Otsutsuki members. So because of that, I feel like one of the best ways to immobilize Boruto, if he does get to that extremely strong, where he does have like a handle on stage 2 of the karma seal, plus the jougan is out and Boruto is back on his BS, I think that then you can assume that Isshiki Otsutsuki at that particular point is probably going to try to immobilize Boruto, doing everything that he possibly could, but trying not to actually kill Boruto as well. And taking out the jougan would definitely be a very good way to do so. Now, this is going to be like the last thing, it's possibly like the saddest thing. I think that just for my sanity, I'm going to say that this is probably not going to happen. There is definitely a possibility that either Sasuke or Naruto can actually die in this chapter. Now, I highly doubt that this is going to be a situation. I highly doubt it's going to be a situation, especially for a character like Naruto. But when we talk about Sasuke in this particular situation, it has been theorized that Sasuke might actually die. And if he does die, I think that this right here would possibly be one of the more realistic ways to do it. Of course, Sasuke is fighting against arguably, I'm not even going to say arguably, the strongest character in the series of Naruto that we have ever seen before. So if he does actually die to a character like Isshiki Otsutsuki, pridefully, it would pretty much be acceptable, but regardless, it would still be a sad scene. So I just want you guys to look out for something like that, even though I think, me personally, it's probably not going to happen. Let me know what you guys think about this next chapter in the comment section below, and what you guys are going to be mostly looking forward to. I think, me personally, I want to see Boruto go all out with the karma seal. I want to see exactly what he could potentially do. But it's me and boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.